and welcome to our Lent series, Pray Lent, which this year focuses on prayer. My name is Fiona Fidgin. I work for the Methodist Church as their digital trainer. I'm a member of the Iona community and I'm delighted to be sharing some thoughts on prayer and inviting you to explore new ways of praying for you to try during this time of Lent. But first, let's just ask ourselves a few questions. What does it mean to pray? And how do you pray? What is it that helps you to pray? And I wonder what your prayer life is like. I used to work at a retreat centre in Durham, and I often heard adults express some anxiety about prayer. They used to say things like, "I'm not sure I pray in the right way." And is it okay to pray in the shower? There are many ways to pray, and certainly no correct way. Here are some quotes about prayer. And I wonder if any of these speak to you, resonate with you, or perhaps there might be some that you totally disagree with. Lent is often a time when we try to pay more attention to our prayer life. Over the course of our time together, I'll be in conversation with people who pray in a variety of ways. Each week we'll explore different ways of praying, and the invitation is just to give it a go. The important thing is to try different ways of praying so that you can enter into a deeper relationship with God. And we will also be exploring those times in our lives when we find it hard to pray, when God seems distant or far away. Prayer has had an interesting time over the last couple of years. I was interested to see research from Durham University, who researched the faith practices of people during the first lockdown, to see aspects like the environment and yoga, or we might refer to that as meditation. Both of these practices were high on people's faith practice lists. It may have been that we found, with limited traffic on the roads, that we had an opportunity to engage in the environment, to be really present to the world, to listen to it, in ways which we haven't been able to do for a long time. Many of us find a sense of God's presence when we are out and about in the environment. We like to garden, or join in the Great British Bird Watch, or walk our dogs, or go up hills, be out and about in the countryside, be tourists, visit new places, become more culturally aware, relive history. We like engaging with the earth and its story. You may have seen the pilgrimage programme on TV with celebrities walking various well-known pilgrim paths, or the BBC 4 programme Winter Walks, or listen to Claire Balding's ramblings on the radio. All of these reflect our desire to connect with nature. Now, if you live in the country, it might be easier to connect with God. to open your window first thing in the morning and be blessed with a beautiful landscape. I live on Teesside and my landscape is quite industrial. So one of the questions we might ask is, how do we find God in the city, in industry, amongst the smog and the hustle and bustle and noises around us? We might be very good at finding God in the countryside, but how do we develop an awareness and just noticing, walking around with a deeper awareness and a deeper noticing of how we connect with God out and about? A few years ago, I went into Leeds to just see how I could do that, how an urban environment might help me to pray. So let's just watch this now. Here we are in Leeds, and the invitation is just to be attentive to your surroundings. Look at the buildings and the environments. What do you see? What do you notice? Look up. Look down. Look around. Look out. How might God be speaking to you in an urban context? And look at the people. What do you see? Who do you see? What do they look like? What's going on, and how do they interact with each other?
No sanctions, low wages, no forced work.
We are bombarded with signs, symbols, words, images. They all impact on us in some way, often without us noticing. So what words or images speak to you? Praying in an urban context is an invitation to be present to yourself and to your surroundings. Often we zoom in and out of places without really being present or noticing what's going on around us. So you may want to find a place to sit or be still, or just walk around slowly and attentively. What do you see, touch, hear, taste, smell? How does all of this make you feel? Margaret Silf says this about prayer. We need to develop an awareness of the world around us. Being present to the things that are happening in our cities, God is revealing God's self to us. Through reflection and practicing an awareness of the present moment, we will more easily be able to live in a prayerful relationship with God, noticing the graced moments of our daily lives. We become more aware of God's footprints in the high street. Through reflection and practicing an awareness of the present moment, we will more easily be able to live in a prayerful relationship, noticing the graced moments of our daily lives. We become more aware of God's footprint in the high street. So says Margaret Silf. So whether you are praying in a rural community, in a town, or in the city, the invitation is to do just that. Deepen an awareness of the present moment. What do you see? What do you notice? What is God saying to you. We start Lent with Ash Wednesday, a time to focus on repentance and prayer. Many Christians will attend church and be marked with an ash cross made from the ashes of palms given out the previous year. This is a very visible and outward sign of our faith and prayer. I spoke to my friend, the Rev Kaz Reeves, priest in charge of the benefice of St Margaret's just outside Dover, about what Ash Wednesday means for her and how it helps her to pray.
I think the very fact that you're doing something so simple as burning something and reducing it to its element and then using it is prayerful. It's a prayerful act, I think, yes. I would say so. So when you do the ashing, I say to my congregation, I'm just reminding you of what you've already been marked as a Christian. And this time you wear it as an open and visible sign so that other people can see if you want. You can wash it off, but you can go around wearing it if you want that day. And of course the ashing and the throwing of ashing onto oneself, and that's dust ashes, that's right throughout the Bible, particularly in the Old Testament, as a sign of repentance. And when I do this, when I receive mine, I'm reminding myself, I'm receiving onto myself the mark of what I am, which is a thing of the earth, a thing of humility, a thing of simplicity. And, I am not setting myself above things and above other people. I am setting myself in right relation to both the earth and creation, if you like, and, of course, to God. It's like all sacraments, whether it's communion or baptism or marriage. You are, as a priest, you are acting on behalf of, but not in the place of God. So you are there, you're doing something to somebody, but it's not about you. That's why you vest properly and you pray properly before the service. That's what ashing's about. It's about that openness to God's Spirit. That is what the key is.
So being aware of the present moment, whether that's in the symbol of an ashed cross on our foreheads, or opening ourselves to God through our senses. All of this involves deepening an awareness of how we see and encounter God in the world. So friends, each week I'll be inviting you into a prayer challenge. And the prayer challenge for this week is to do just as we have been thinking about in the context of that wee video about being out and about in the city of Leeds. So the invitation for your prayer challenge this week is to see if you can find some time, some of those graced moments that Margaret Silf describes. See if you can find some time. Look up, look around you, look below. What do you see? Become more aware of God's presence, whether you are outside or whether you're inside looking outside of your window, or whether you're inside noticing things like the kettle boiling or the electricity working. For some of you that haven't had your electricity working, suddenly being thankful for these kind of things that we take for granted, or water running out of your taps. Think about the things inside the house as well as outside environments. Just become more aware and notice God's presence. So prayer challenge. Walk around with a deeper sense of awareness. Open your eyes and your ears to God's presence, whether the environment is inside or outside. What you see, what you notice, what is God saying to you? Prayer challenge for this week.